If you're trying to get into manga, this video is for you. I'm going to give you some recommendations that I think would be good for beginners. I don't want to drop you into a series like Berserk because that is way too crazy to just put somebody in for their first reading. So I'm going to give you the whole list and then go into further detail about each of the mangas that I'm going to recommend. They are Tokyo Ghoul, Horimiya, Chainsaw Man, Vinland Saga, and the manga of your favorite anime series. I think that's a perfect place to start because you can get a feel of the medium without being too confused, because most likely you will know what's going on. So if your favorite anime is Death Note, then you just read Death Note. Also, speaking of reading, you might not know how to read correctly, but you read it to right to left. And if you don't want to buy physical copies, because most of the time they're like $10 or above for one volume, just pirate it. Now for Tokyo Ghoul, I had a hard time recommending it because the paneling for a lot of the fight scenes could be very confusing, and that is probably the only bad thing I can think of for this series. Tokyo Ghoul is about ghouls in Tokyo. There's no way I wrote that. But it's about ghouls who can't eat anything but humans and coffee. We follow a college student named Ken Kaneki, and he's just an average student until he meets a baddie at a coffee shop named Rize. He goes on a date with her, and when he's about to get some neck, he actually gets bit in the neck. He gets saved by steel beams falling on her. She dies, but he's in critical condition, and the only way to save him is if he gets her organs in a transplant. So if you put ghoul organs in a human body, you get a ghoul. We basically follow him throughout the whole entire story, and he is probably one of my most favorite main characters ever. He is kind of annoying in like the first couple of volumes, but then he develops into being one of my favorite characters ever. Probably a top 3 protagonist for me. Also, the artwork of this series is fucking beautiful. I'm just gonna throw some panels without context on there. Like, obviously volume 1 isn't gonna be as good as volume 14, but the artwork still looks great no matter what. It just becomes way fucking better later on, obviously. And the cover arts look great too, so if you are gonna buy these physically, you're getting some good looking covers. I didn't get the box set for part 1. By the way, part 1 and part 2. We have Tokyo Ghoul here, okay? And we have Tokyo Ghoul Re. Hold on. I got part 2. I think you will really love this series if you like a darker story. Tokyo Ghoul part 1 has 143 chapters, and part 2 has 179 chapters. The best part about this, the series is finished, or that could be the worst part if you still want to read something that's continuing. Speaking about something that's continuing, Chainsaw Man. And I think the biggest strength of Chainsaw Man is the paneling. It feels so cinematic and it's really easy to follow, and I think that's probably the best part about this for beginners. It's all about devils and devil hunters. The story follows Denji, who's on the lowest lows of life, and his friend Pochita, who is a chainsaw devil. They kill devils for money because they're broke as fuck, and on a job they get betrayed and get absolutely bodied. Pochita becomes Denji's heart to save him. That's when Denji becomes the Chainsaw Man. Basically kills all the devils and then gets recruited by a devil hunter. The story has so many twists and turns from here. It's a fucking ride. Chainsaw Man has 123 chapters and it's ongoing. On a brighter note, Horimiya. It's a great romance manga to start out with because it kind of skips over a lot of the bullshit tropes that really hold back the genre. It's about 2 high schoolers, Miyamura and Hori. If you couldn't tell, their ship name is the name of the manga. Miyamura is an unpopular kid who sits in the back corner of the class, not talking to anybody. He normally just has his hair down and looks gloomy, but when he's out and about, he's got his hair up in a bun and he's got some piercings in. And let's be honest, he's hot as fuck. Hori is a popular girl at school, but when she's at home, she's basically a mom because her real mom is at work all the time, so she's taking care of her little brother and the house. By a random chance, Mia and Hori meet because Mia found Hori's little brother who hurt himself and Miyamura walked him home. They then develop a relationship from there on out, and it's really wholesome. I originally watched the anime, but it felt like they left a lot of stuff out, so I read the manga and it was great. Horimiya has 123 chapters and it's finished. For the final manga I'm gonna recommend you, it's Vinland Saga. It's my favorite manga on the list, the only one I don't have physically. It's about Vikings and war, but it goes a lot further into that. Our main character is Thorfinn, who is trying to get revenge for something I don't want to spoil, but he wants to kill a man named Askeladd. We follow his journey for revenge, but after many years of trying to get revenge, when he doesn't, Thorfinn completely breaks inside, and you watch him come to terms with what he has done throughout the story that has led up to where he is right now. It goes from a revenge story to a redemption story. This has great artwork, and Thorfinn is my second favorite main character, only behind Miyamoto Musashi from Vagabond. Vinland Saga has 200 chapters, and it's ongoing. I feel like these 4 series, pretend One Piece is Vinland Saga, okay, please. I feel like these 4 stories are pretty good to get into if you want to get into manga. If you can think of another series that people should pick up if they're getting into reading manga, put that shit down in the comments. But that's about it. See y'all next video.